Hello, my name is Shanice McKinder, and this is my instructional strategies chart. Um, so these are all the ones that were given to us. I added examples to each just in case. So the additional instructional strategy of your choice, I picked project-based learning. The strategies that I picked additionally to what was already given are strategies that I've been using or are using or I have used in the past. And I've had great feedback from them. So I was like, why not keep doing them? Why not keep using them? Um, let's see. And then the other one I used was Universal Design for Learning. I like using that one because it gives me opportunity to, I can never say this word, differentiate my lessons, the assignments, the group work, the independent work. I'm able to put them on levels that my students are at. Like say if I have a third grader who is not at a third grade level, I can break it down to a second grade level or first grade or even kinder if I needed to, which sometimes we do in the classroom, which I've been doing lately in my classroom. Um, so the part two is my grade level, second grade. My state standard is determine whether a group of objects up to 20 has an odd or even number of members. Sorry. By pairing objects or counting them by twos. The learning objective, students will learn how to figure out if a group of items up to 20 are even or odd by being able to pair them up into groups of two. I can statement is I can tell if a number of objects is even or odd by pairing them up in groups of two. So the first instructional strategy, I like this concept and attainment. So it's students develop an understanding of a topic lesson by identifying common attributes from examples and non-examples. An example I chose was teaching a lesson about even and odd numbers, giving them examples and non-examples, and then letting students work together to find the answers. I feel like if they know the topic very well, which they should if I have taught it very well, then this should be easy peasy. They would have many examples. I would obviously give them some examples to start off with just as a refresher. Ask them what even and odd means, stuff like that. The second strategy would be problem-based learning. So this is where a student-centered learning strategy where students learn by working in small groups to solve difficult real-world problems. Students do the research and then teach the topic of or subject with their solutions. The teacher's job at that time is to only facilitate, guide, and help students reflect. The example I would thought of was having students determine how many of their peers can go on a roller coaster by grouping each other into even pairs. For odd students, have them determine the odd number of students allowed in a later tag room at once. I thought that would be real world related because a lot of kids go to the roller coasters or state fairs or theme parks and or like main event they have a laser tag room. So I know and for some reason that main event the number of players sometimes it depends on how many people are there and sometimes it could be an odd number which doesn't really work out too well. So I'm like, how does that work? But it's laser tag, they'll figure it out. The second or the third strategy would be gamification. This is a student-based learning strategy that involves game design lessons to keep students motivated, engaged, and persistent. This is applied in the traditional learning environment, and teachers can differentiate as needed. The end goal can include points for their class or tables, learning badges, and their leaderboard movement. Examples like Jeopardy. I know that sometimes I have my kids play Jeopardy in groups of two or groups of three, depending on how many kids there are. So I try to explain that. It doesn't really sound very good. So, and Jeopardy is based on points. I also play Jeopardy where you lose points if you get the answer wrong. My students hate that. Like they will come for my throat when I take points away. Um, and so like I like to play. I made my own with multiplication and stuff like that. So this one is I would have students be paired up The teams will come up with an even or odd number of blocks, up to 20. The number can only be used once. So, like, say the number is 8. Well, what numbers make 8? Type of thing. How many groups are 8? So somebody says, oh, well, there's 2 groups, or there's 4 groups of 2 type of thing, or there's 2 groups of 8 type of thing, or something like that. Then they can't use it again. They have to find another way to make 8, whether that's using even or odd numbers of pairs or groups. So like they can say like, oh, well, 5 and 3 make 8. Well, that works. So the first group to get it will get the highest amount of points, so like 5. The second group to get it will get like 2, and then the third group to get it will be like 1. The other groups wouldn't get points because we're on first, second, and third base. And then my resources are down here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 resources. And some of these resources I've used before in the past, like Cast, Johnson and Johnson, Thomas, and Dixon and Khaled. I've used those ones before, and I find that those resources come in handy in different areas or different classes. So that kind of helped a lot with finding resources that weren't already in the dashboard type of thing. But thank you. I'm going to stop. And I'm going to end.